Well, as I've been doing throughout this entire situation, I'm keeping you updated on World War III and the happenings that's leading us there. Guys, I'm JB Gunner. This is JB Gunner TV. Still not canceled because they can't cancel me. Let's do it.
Bring it back.
Now, I took a couple days off, went hiking, did some chilling out in the mountains, hanging out. And, obviously a lot of you guys know that recently I came under a lot of fire because I was right about the kid that fell off the ride in Orlando. His size was too much. He got booted off 2 rides and ultimately fell to his death, unfortunately for the young man. And he died because he was too fat. And I said this, and everybody flipped out. You're fat phobic. Whatever. It doesn't change the fact that what I just said was accurate. So they tried to cancel me, but of course, JB Gunner does not go anywhere. JB Gunner's been here for 15 years. JB Gunner will be here another 15 years, no matter how many ticker-tackers decide to get in my email and email me and all this fun shit, right? World War III update. We're going to get right to it here today, guys. You guys can't hit the new Cash App. It is down there. PayPal, Patreon, Venmo. Make sure you support your favorite creators out here because God knows YouTube's not doing it. So fuck them. But that is the one thing that did get done is they were able to freeze my old Cash App due to the request. That's all right. I'm dealing with Cash App. We'll get that all fixed. But in the meantime, I have permission from Cash App to have another Cash App, and I do, and requests are turned off. So they will have no luck with that one, but we will be working on that. Guys, if you take a look at the map, notice that Kiev has no Russians there. If you take a look right here, let me go over here. If you take a look right in this region, everybody got in their trucks and they left. And so Kiev is pretty much Russianless, right? And all the attention is now going back to the Donbass region, everything out east. Russia's going to finish their takeover right here and then move in. As you can see all the way across the top of the border, they've left. So technically, I guess you can consider this a change in what's going on. Because if you remember right, all across that right side, going all the way up to Belarus, it used to be red, but now it's not red anymore. So there is definitely some things going on. And it seems to me, now I've supported Vladimir Putin throughout majority of this, and I recognize that a lot of things that they present to us is, propaganda. I'm talking about Western media. I'm talking about Ukraine. Oh, and I'm sure Russia puts out their own propaganda, but things have kind of gotten ugly. But war is ugly. Well, I'm going to show you some shit. And of course, they're saying this was a massacre, that this was a slaughter. And I've been telling you since day one, Russia's not losing the war. They're slaughtering a lot of people. They're not losing. And of course, now the images are coming out, the stories are coming out, and they're like, man, Russia did a lot of damage, war crimes. There is no such thing as a war crime. Fuck what you're talking about. At the end of the day, war is war, and you win war by killing people. It's the way things kind of work. So we'll go to the stories. Duma Speaker brands Bucha incident false flag to discredit Russia. This is from Russian news right here. According to Volodin, an investigation is of no use as NATO countries since the perpetrators have already been found. Here's the thing. I can't show you all the images, but if you see the images that's going around right now, they are claiming that Russia tied civilians' hands behind their back and then killed them afterwards. But I'm going to show you an image. I will show you an image in this story that will pretty much show you that chances are this is a false flag. I think we've established there's no Nazis in Russia. I think we've established that the Nazis are in Ukraine. Let's just call it what it is. There is no Nazis in Russia. Nazis, the Azov battalion, they're all in Ukraine. That has nothing to do with Russia. And I want you to remember that as we go forward. There is no outcome other than victory. Zelensky says Ukraine will never concede Crimea or any other territory, and his people will not accept anything less than defeat of invading Russia. So I want you to understand why everybody's got your Ukraine flag next to your name. Zelensky has been offered plenty of peace deals, and he's declined every last one of them. You understand that you guys are supporting and you guys are putting all your support into a country with a president that does not want peace. At the end of the day, he wants Crimea back. Russia's not having that shit. So they're going to fight over Crimea. They're going to fight over the Donbass region. They're going to fight over those regions. And for us to risk nuclear war to get involved in a fight over regions we have nothing to do with, that's not even NATO, is one of the most foolish moves we have made as a nation yet. But under Joe Biden, I don't think a lot of us are even remotely surprised. Let's go ahead and keep things going. Putin bathes in antler blood as part of alternative treatment that boosts male potency, amid claims he may have thyroid cancer and is followed everywhere by a doctor. First of all, yes, he's a leader. He's also a rich leader that's almost, I think, what is he, 69? He's 70 years old. I would assume that a rich leader that's 70 years old has his own doctor that follows him. But of course, they make up stories, say he may have thyroid cancer, things like that, right? All because Putin is a little bit more puffy, a little bit more, he's getting a little bit fatter in his old age. Now I want you to see the stories they're coming out with. Putin bathes in antler blood. They're trying to make, you see how they're trying to make him sound? That's part of the alternative treatment that keeps his dick hard. You see the propaganda? Remember what they, remember here in America when they did the propaganda? Trump in his hands, it's pseudoscience. It's not real. And so just like they smeared Trump, they're trying to do with Vladimir Putin. Now he has to bathe in antler blood to keep his dick hard. Let that sink in. If you don't understand the propaganda they're told, if you don't understand the foolishness of the Western media, just let that topic, that headline sink in. Putin bathes in antler blood to make his dick hard. You get it yet? I think we get it. Russia will end cooperation on the International Space Station and will not work with the NASA or European Space Agency. Good job, America. Now we've fucking lost Russia's help with the International Space Station. China launched huge cyber attack on Ukraine's military and nuclear infrastructure days before Russia invaded, Kiev claims. So now pay attention to this. So now Kiev is claiming that China cyber attacked them before Russia invaded. Do you see what Ukraine's doing? Now, I personally have been telling you that Russia and China are together anyway. But do you understand Ukraine saying, okay, thank you. You guys are helping us with Ukraine. Now pay attention to China. Let's get China. You got to read between the lines. Ukraine, in the middle of this war with Russia, is coming out and they're like, hey, by the way, I know we haven't told you this yet, but China's been trying to get us too. Do you see the point? Ukraine's intelligence agency confirmed China's cyber attacks before the war. The Chinese reconnaissance attacks peaked the day before Russia's invasion. Experts say the moves contradict Xi Jinping's claims to have not known about Vladimir's invasion plans in advance. If proven, the attacks could be seen as support for Russia's war effort and lead to sanctions on China. See why I've been calling this World War III? We're on our way, baby. We're on our way. Now, the Kremlin is accused of faking a Ukrainian missile attack on Russian city hours after Kiev denied mounting helicopter attack on fuel. So Ukraine comes out, they say, we're not giving up anything. They start attacking Russia on Russian soil, and now all of a sudden it's a false flag and Ukraine's not doing it. Let me ask you a question. Let's just use simple common sense. If they're at war and Russia's attacking Ukraine and Ukraine, do you really believe Ukraine wouldn't attack Russia and Russia? This is war, man. You think Ukraine is shooting down Russian helicopters and Russian tanks and all that, but then they're going to stop and say, yeah, but they're across the border now in Russia, so we're not going to do it? Come on, man, this is war. It's ridiculous that you would even believe this stupid propaganda. Let's just call it what it is. It's dumb, okay? It's dumb if you even remotely believe this. New Ukrainian drone footage shows Russian tanks and armored vehicles being destroyed as their column is devastated in yet another ambush. So, yeah, they are destroying some Russian tanks. But let's not act like Russia's not winning this war. Let's not act like Russia's not destroying Ukrainian cities. You got a couple of tanks, 0 Russian cities. Russia's killed several Ukrainians, and destroyed entire cities. You guys got a couple of fucking tanks. They genuinely act like this is victory. No, these are some of the spoils of war. You have some small victories, but let's take a look at that. That's your towns. That's your cities, bro. You're not winning this war. Vladimir Zelensky condemns Russia for booby trapping corpses. This is beautiful, ain't it? And abandoned homes as they retreat from the north, a day after scores of executed civilians were found on highway. That sounds like a good fucking plan. Well, why would you condemn Russia for that? I mean, booby trapping things in the middle of war, that seems pretty normal. Abandoned houses and bodies that are already dead. Why wouldn't you booby trap them? You know the goddamn Ukrainians are going to go and look in these places. Why wouldn't you booby trap them? This is not war of the Revolutionary War. We're not marching in lines here with cannons. We live in a different era. I don't understand what the problem here is. They said they're mining homes, mining equipment, even the bodies who were killed. Yeah, it's called victory. That's called a smart strategy. Kamala fails to back Joe. Kamala Harris refuses to say if she agrees with President's unscripted remark that Putin cannot remain in power. Now, Joe Biden's wife, by the way, says Kamala Harris was a mistake. That's the truth. You are fighting our war. If you win, the world wins. The EU Parliament president tells Zelensky the people of Europe stand with Ukraine and the assembly would support the country's efforts to start the process of joining the EU, of course. They want money's money. But I want you to understand, this is why Putin isn't going to stop. You have the EU say, you're fighting our war. If you win, we win. Ooh. It's not smart. It's not smart. You don't have to include all of this verbiage in any of this. You're backing Putin against the wall. Biden criticized for not doing enough to turn the world on Putin after Russian foreigner Sergei Lavrov said he hoped friend India could help Moscow avoid sanctions and U.S.-held talks in Delhi. You understand and this is what Ukraine's been doing, right? They've been saying Biden's not doing enough. He's not giving us enough. We need a no-fly zone. We need World War III. Russia vows to target British weapons after rocket attack escalates Ukraine war. Russian Ambassador Audrey Kalin has warned that the arrival of British weapons will make the conflict in Ukraine even bloodier, and stressed that British arms convoys will be legitimate targets as soon as they cross Ukrainian border. That's Russia saying, "Hey, go ahead and make that move, motherfucker. That's your ass." The West and Russia, more nuclear steps in a more dangerous world. That's right. That's right. World War III will be nuclear and it will be televised, as we are seeing currently. Syrian mercenaries deployed to Russia en route to the Ukrainian battlefields. That's right. The Syrians are now on their way to help the Russians. We're on our way to World War III, as you can clearly see. Now, Shell gas station is unable to buy gas due to London's anti-Russian stance, Kremlin spokesman. London wants to be the leader of everything that's anti-Russia, Dmitry. So I want you to understand, Shell gas station, one of the biggest gas stations in the world, they're unable to buy the gas due to London's anti-Russian stance. So there is no free market right now. Understand, Shell wants to buy Russian gas in rubles, no problem. But London and countries like America, who, by the way, still buy Russian gas, Russian oil, they want the companies to not be able to do it, even though the countries can still do it. Make that make sense, right? Pentagon allocates another $300 million of our tax dollars in military aid to Ukraine. Now, I'm just curious, how hungry are you as your milk and eggs prices go up, as your fuel prices go up? How much extra money do you really have? Hell, even I'm broke, right? How much extra money do you really have? Enough to send Ukraine another $300 million to go with like $14 billion that we have already sent them? $14 billion plus another $300 million. We're just funding this whole goddamn war. You and me. China warns a specter of trouble for Asia plotted by the U.S. in light of Ukraine's crisis. The Chinese foreign minister said that Beijing's third point characterizing its position is in opposition to Cold War methods. Exactly. So you understand China's warning Asia right now. A lot of things going on. China, India, Russia. Ukraine takes back the whole Kiev region. They didn't take anything back. Russia left. These people are fucking clowns, right? Columns of Russian armored vehicles lined in the highways and tank graveyards as advancing Ukrainians find civilians shot with their hands tied behind their back. No, they left. And they announced they were leaving before they left. You understand? Yes, there's some tanks that's down. It's a war zone, dummy. It's a war zone. Why wouldn't there be tanks and shit down? It is a war zone. Yeah, there's going to be evidence of war. 2 Russian soldiers have died. So they want to talk about how dirty the Russians are. Let's talk about this. 2 Russian soldiers have died and 28 are in the hospital after being poisoned by pastry delicacies offered to them by civilians near besieged Kharkiv, according to the Ukraine Ministry of Defense. Russians, you're dumb. All of those people deserve what they got, because why in the fuck would you accept food from the people you're going to war with? I'm sorry. Those people, listen, I'm rooting for Russia in this war. I'm rooting for Putin. But if you're so goddamn stupid, you're going to have a fucking pastry, a fucking zoom zoom and wham wham from the enemy, you deserve to go. Sorry. You don't get no goddamn honey bun from no fucking Ukrainian. What is wrong with you motherfuckers? Russia's aerospace forces eliminate 51 Ukrainian military targets overnight. Russia's armed forces has eliminated 125 warplanes, 88 helicopters, 383 drone strikes since the beginning of the war in Ukraine. Russia Defense Ministry, Igor, whatever the fuck said. So 51 Ukrainian military targets overnight, but you won't hear that read because we only do pro-Ukrainian propaganda in America. You'll see stories like this. Ukrainian children used as human shields near Kiev, says witness. Now let me ask you a question. I'm just kind of curious. I thought y'all were beating them in Kiev. Don't you understand? Ain't it really weird how every bit of Russian victory, they come up with a story like this, but they constantly shine on every aspect that's pro-Ukrainian, right? When it comes to this, it's, yeah, Russia's winning, but do you see how they're winning? There ain't no crying in baseball, man. Deal with that shit. It is what it is. Let's go here. Streets of Kiev. Suburb littered with bodies, 280 buried in a mass grave. Yeah, look at them. Yeah, I don't know what to say other than that. That's the price you pay for war. It is what it is. That's what war looks like. Vladimir Putin wants battlefield win in Eastern Ukraine by May 9th, so he can celebrate as Moscow's Victory Day parade, U.S. officials say. So Vladimir Putin, between now and May 9th, we could see some shit. Vladimir Putin hopes to have a battlefield win in Eastern Ukraine within a month. Eastern Ukraine, keyword, Eastern Ukraine. It is so he can celebrate on Russia's Victory Day parade in Moscow on May 9th. The annual parade in Red Square is held to mark the Nazi surrender in World War II. That's a good one, because they are the ones that defeated Hitler and the Nazis, not us. We defeated Japan. U.S. military successfully tested hypersonic missiles last month, but kept the project a secret to avoid escalating tensions with Russia. I was reporting this to you all last month. So they didn't do it very well when I was able to find the websites and the news articles talking about the U.S. hypersonic missiles. Then they said, well, we were going to launch it, but we didn't want to piss off Putin. I knew they were launching it. It just is what it is. They'd be a fool not to use it when Russia's launching them, when North Korea's launching them, and when China's launching them. They'd be a fool not to do it. Satellite images show bodies were lying in Bucha for weeks, debunking Russia's wild claims that 400 corpses were planted after Putin's troops fled, as Zelensky prepares to address UN Security Council over genocide. I don't know what to believe there. To be perfectly honest, satellite images show dark objects lining in roads, and so yeah, there probably was dead bodies there. I don't doubt that at all. It's in the middle of a war zone. Why would you expect civilians to survive in a war zone? It's a war zone. Where else? And let me ask you guys a question. Where else are you supposed to bomb in war other than cities? Right? Like, it makes no sense. If I'm going to war, let's say with America, why wouldn't I hit DC, New York, California, Los Angeles? Why wouldn't I hit those areas? That makes absolutely no sense. The entire point of war is to get rid of the other people. That makes no sense at all. Women was tortured and raped by Russian troops who burned a swastika. Now, this is what I was going to tell you about earlier. This is why I don't think it's real. So, they are claiming, okay? They are claiming that there's rape happening. And I want you to understand. The country that has the Azov battalion, the Ukrainians, to have actual Nazis to stem back to Germany, stem back to World War II, are claiming that the Russians are doing this? Get the fuck out of here. The Russians, get the fuck out of here. Makes no sense at all. Biden to send Switchblade tank-killing kamikaze drones to Ukraine, on your dime, of course, that can be carried in backpacks and loiter above targets before attacking at 115 miles per hour with armor-piercing warhead. Interesting. There's the drones. So hovers above targets for 40 minutes, can travel 25 miles. Look at them, there they are. This is what Joe Biden sent to Ukraine. Look at that. Look at that. I find that interesting how much we're funding over there. Russian conscripts, the people they drafted, are being given 19th century rifles made to drink from ponds filled with dead frogs, due to the lack of supplies and ordered to run in front of enemy soldiers to draw their fire, they reveal. Pay attention just to the way they paint the Russians. But yeah, I do believe conscripts and people like that go on the front line. I don't believe Russia sent in a real military yet. I believe everything we've seen so far is like National Guard type people. I don't believe Russia has sent in the real military at all. Why would they? It makes no sense. I believe the reason Ukraine has a couple of wins is because it's not Russia's real military. We're talking about a military that's like 2 million people. And all you've seen is maybe less than 100,000? Get the fuck out of here. Just get the fuck out of here. Hackers Anonymous released personal data of 120,000 Russian soldiers fighting Ukraine. And exactly what is that supposed to do? Like, that's so weird to me. Like, what exactly is that supposed to do? You know, I've had hackers release my data before and shit like that, and I just move. It's really strange. Like, well, seriously, these people are all fighting in Ukraine. You don't think they're registered military members? Like, what are you really releasing? Oh, here's the personal data of some dude in the military in Russia. What does that mean? Are you trying to put their family at risk? Is that what you're trying to do? That makes you pretty scummy. I'm just saying. North Korea says it will strike with nuclear weapons if South Korea attacks. Like I said, World War II. That's what we're at. Pentagon and CIA produced fake news broadcasts about nuclear attack on U.S. soil. I remember seeing this in Indianapolis. This is 1986. 1986. Shall we? Let's go ahead and take a quick look at this. Oh, I can just do it like this. There we go.
We are now in day 4. You know that few details are available, but this much we know. A large portion of downtown Indianapolis remains evacuated. Now, reports are sketchy at this point, but we do know that apparently there are terrorists holed up in the downtown part of our city with nuclear devices. How many people, how many devices, we're not sure. But we have just learned here at the Channel 9 newsroom that a federal response team has been sent in to neutralize the threat. Let's go live now to reporter Ann Miller, who's out with Chopper 9 for the latest on this. Ann?
All right, Jeff. We've just passed over the Speedway. We're heading east towards downtown. Now, normally at this time of the morning, you'd see the beginnings of rush hour traffic. But this morning, the city is strangely still.
Do you see any traffic moving at all?
Yes, although the city has been evacuated, there are police down there in the streets making sure everyone stays out of town, and guards have been seated just in case.
And just how close can you get to where the terrorists are said to be moving?
Well, the FBI and the police have poured guard in that neighborhood, and there's restricted airspace above it. We're headed in that direction now, but we can only approach it.
We've obviously lost our microwave link with Chopper 9. Can someone get on the two-way radio and see if they can contact Ann and see what's going on out there? In the meanwhile, I'd like to, again, caution our audience against over-concern.
So, that was a fake newscast created by the CIA in Indianapolis about a nuclear attack on U.S. soil. Why would they do that? 1986, why would they do that? I think many of you understand, many of you get it. World War III is definitely a brewing, it's definitely coming. And plus, we got our own civil discourse that's went way left here in America. A good friend of mine, Upgrade, said, we've declared war. War is obviously declared. That's both civilly and nationally. And globally. And I agree completely. I agree 1,000%. Guys, this is your World War III update for May. Is it April? April 5th, 2022. I'm JB Gunner, and this is JB Gunner TV. If you guys want to support the channel, by all means, feel free to hit the links down below. There's a new PayPal. There is a new Venmo. There's a new all of that. Well, they're not new Venmo. New PayPal, new Cash App, all of that. So if you're trying to use the old Cash App, it's frozen right now. I'm getting it fixed. They tried to stop me, but as you can see, I'm uncancelable. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.